Joined by Arwa Ibrahim. She's a journalist with a focus in covering social and political change in both Turkey and Egypt. She joins me now from Manchester in the United Kingdom. Great to have you on the program. Firstly, Fethullah Gülen's group has been accused of being behind the coup attempt. We do know that. Do we know any more about what kind of evidence has been sent to the US?
So far, there is no information about the kind of evidence that has been sent. All we know is that a file or official request has been sent by Turkey to the US requesting the extradition of Gülen. But so far, we don't know what the evidence is. We know that there are 4 dossiers, which means there's a lot of evidence that has been sent, apparently. Whether or not that amounts to enough proof for the U.S. to be convinced to extradite Gülen is something that we're waiting to hear about from the U.S. So far this morning, the State Department has said that they are not ready to discuss the details of what they've received because they are still going through it and analyzing it.
Do we know if there are any specific requirements from the US, and how likely do you think the USA will hand Gülen over to the Turkish authorities?
There are requirements. There is a treaty between the U.S. and Turkey which has very specific requirements, and that is what the State Department is looking into at the moment. They said that if the evidence that has been received fulfills these requirements, they'd be happy to extradite him. However, whether or not that will happen is difficult to say. It's quite unlikely that this process will happen quickly, if it happens at all. The U.S. has been very clear about its position with regards to the movement that is happening in Turkey. It has asked Turkey to maintain and stay in line with human rights issues, with being within the rule of law and democratic values. But for Turkey, the Gülen movement and Fethullah Gülen himself, the leader of this movement, is a very sensitive issue. As we all know, they were allies since the 1980s and throughout the 1990s. There was a split which first appeared in 2010 over the Mavi Marmara aid flotilla, which was headed towards Gaza. This division became more deeply founded in 2013 over the corruption charges which the Turkish government blamed Gülen and his supporters within the police and the judiciary for staging. Since then, there has been a huge crackdown on Gülen and his supporters.
And a long and complicated investigation is now underway, tens of thousands of people involved. There are concerns that President Erdogan is using the situation to settle scores with anyone perceived to pose any kind of threat to the government. What's your reaction to this?
What we've seen over the past few days is definitely there have been thousands, up to 50,000 people who have been arrested or suspended from their positions. Among the highest number of these is within the educational ministry, which has a huge number of Gülen supporters or people linked to the Gülenists. Erdogan has the option to use this opportunity to further tighten his control and to crack down on his opponents, but it is also an opportunity that he can capitalize on. It is a moment it's a very unique moment for Turkey because over the past couple of years there has been a huge polarization within Turkish society. At this moment, on the night of Friday and into the early hours of Saturday, we saw that the different factions within Turkish society, the different supporters of the various political parties came together, they united, and this is a very important point in Turkish modern history because the political parties have stood together, they have found a common denominator, and Erdogan can definitely capitalize on this if he wants to move forward with the future of the country. A reconciliation, national dialogue of some sort can be put forward if this is something that Erdogan is looking into at the moment.
Sorry, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for that. Arwa Ibrahim from Manchester there.